have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the parents' lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the parents' lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome, Chip Leighton of the Leighton Show, brother. We are huge fans, so thank you so much for coming to play with us today. You, dude, you're starting to blow up and have a little viral moment of your apologies to your wife. Which is the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. You guys are always a blast. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of other guys out there that apologize to their wives and or should apologize to their wives maybe. And I got a couple teenagers in the house, which creates some fun moments. I'm sure we'll talk about that. I know your kids are a little bit younger, but you got some fun times ahead of you.
First and foremost, how do you get away? Because there's so many things I want to post about my wife, but I'm literally afraid she'll kill me in my sleep. So this is just the other day, we have two towel racks in our gorgeous bathroom, and she went and bought like fancy towels that she hung on there.
Don't touch those.
One day I went to use it and she almost stabbed me with something because she goes, those are not, I can't use those, they're decorative. And I go,
but that's a rookie mistake, Kaler. I feel like that's a rookie mistake.
But this is my bathroom. Like there's no other towel rack. There's literally nowhere else to hang my towel.
That's not her problem, Jamie.
That's what you
need to spend some more time watching the Leighton Show, Jamie. This is like that. He's right. It's a rookie mistake. Like I'm lucky. My wife actually doesn't really care about the towels, but I've had so many people be like, "Oh, I used the wrong towel today." And the pillows are another one. Like there's like a whole series of decorative pillows in some houses that like if you put your head on one of those, you're in trouble. We have a few on my bed, but it's like I tell people, like if you're making the bed and it feels like you're shingling a roof, like you're probably doing it right. But I don't know. I don't know many guys that want to like throw 25 pillows on the floor just to get to bed at night. But so it happens in a lot of households.
Every night the pillows are on the floor.
Yeah.
I've kind of started using the pillows as a wall. Like we're almost. Do you do that? I do the double bed where it's almost like the wall. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, her leg is like, God forbid, if I go over the wall, it's like the Great Escape. I'm the guy getting shot up on the barbed wire. But if she, all of a sudden, I'm like, hey man, what's your leg doing on my side of the bed? Well, I don't know why we're in the same room.
Yeah, no, I've done many posts on sleeping. I mean, like I apologize because like her foot touched like my ankle or whatever when it was like within 6 inches of my edge of the bed. I swear, like it's definitely a double standard, but it's not one to fight. Like I think at one point I was thinking about getting one of those like you've seen those guys on like El Capitan, they have like those tents that hang over the side. Like you almost gotta like extend the edge of the bed so you're not like anyway, it's a whole thing. Obviously, the cardinal sin with sleeping is you can't face in her direction at all during the night because then you'll be breathing your hot breath in her face. So the wall thing is actually interesting, you
don't do the wall, Chip, because we do the wall here.
Interesting. Okay, I'm learning some things here.
You don't build the Berlin Wall right down the middle in East and West Germany, where it's a pillow wall,
and we have very tight border control.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, I say you just use what I do is I stay on one shoulder the whole night facing the wall, like the real wall, despite the chronic shoulder pain that causes, because there's surgery for that. It's pretty easy. They shave some of the bone down and then you spend 6 weeks sleeping in a chair, and after that you're good to go.
I was thinking about inventing a pillow where you have it, how like when an amputee has a leg fitted to their they have a prosthetic.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. I wanted to have a pillow made exactly for my shoulder so it would support me. And then because I'm the same. I get unbelievable shoulder pain. I rotate from shoulder to shoulder every night, and I can hear her when I rotate towards her. All I hear is a big it's just a sigh of like, but what I hear is, "You've got to be kidding me." That's what I hear when she sighs at me.
Yeah, they actually make a pillow. I saw this on Facebook the other day. They make a pillow. It's got like some big hole. It's like a wedge, and it's got some hole in it. I mean, it looks ridiculous, but it somehow takes the pain off the shoulder or whatever. You might look into that.
She buys like the sheets and stuff. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. The other one is I apologize for making the bed wrong. You think you'd be rewarded for that, but there's something about the tag on the comforter's got to go in a certain corner, and I guess all wives know this, because when I posted, everyone's like, "Are you an idiot?" Like, I don't want some tag up in my neck when I'm sleeping or whatever. All right, I get it now.
Does your wife ever make the bed at all?
Oh yeah, no, she makes it most of the time. In fact, I got some feedback the other day when I made it wrong. It was like, I'd prefer you focus your efforts on the cat litter box, please. It's like, all right, I can do that.
Is it like your quarterly review, Chip?
Yeah, no. I before we go too far, I want to say happily married, 23 years. My wife's amazing, and she got a great sense of humor, so she's a good sport about it all. And most people, like, on social media, get what I'm doing here. There's a few people that don't quite get the sarcasm, but
isn't it crazy? You can post, like we were talking the other day. It doesn't matter. You can post the most generic thing ever. 51% of the people will go, "My gosh, this is the greatest thing ever," and 49% will go, "Why don't you kill yourself? Why don't you just curl up and kill yourself? You're driving." I'm like, it's insane. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten blown up for stuff you've posted? Like, have you ever just had people who just weren't going to let it go?
Early on when I did some of my I do this inspirational text for my teenage daughter, and they're all like, make me pancakes, do it, kind of like ordering me around or whatever. And I did get a bunch of like, "Oh, that's so rude and disrespectful, and you need to raise your children differently," or whatever. But that kind of went away over time. And what did happen is this fall I got some media coverage around the apologies to my wife, and it started with this article that was in the Daily Mail in the UK. It's like a tabloid, and like the comment section was like, because people who were reading that they don't have the right context for what I'm doing, and so the comments were like, "Oh my, you should be getting a divorce immediately. Your wife sounds awful," and all this stuff. And it's like, all right, just settle down. It's
I don't
like
know any couple that. Anytime, we've talked about this many times, but anytime I see a couple and I'm go, "Don't you guys ever fight?" They go, "No, we never fight. We're so madly in love." And every photo is them like holding hands, like on a beach, doing that. That to me is the murder-suicide waiting to happen. Like, no, I don't know anybody whose life, everyone I just went out to some dinner with a bunch of the parents from my kids' school, because those are apparently my friends now. I don't even get to choose friends. My friends are my kids' friends' parents are my friends. And so all the dads are like, "Oh yeah, my wife's driving me crazy." Like, and we go, "Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it works."
Well, that's what's been kind of neat about this whole experiment, where it's like you don't realize how much you have in common with other people, and it's like even like little stuff. Like, I always think of I did this like morning show in Chicago once, and we were talking about the apologies, and like the co-host was like, we were talking about this one. I do this one around like I'd let my steak knife touch the plate for a fraction of a second. It makes that noise or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe
he's like, is my wife watching right now? Because like she rides me like crazy about that. I feel so validated right now. It's like people get so worked up. But my whole thing is it's just, you got to laugh about that stuff, and have a sense of humor around it. And everybody, no matter how great their marriage is, has those funny little moments.
Or how poor their marriage is. It's all
maybe
different. On the Kinsey scale somewhere.
Mine's a crazy balancing act.
When I first reached out, I was like, I thought for sure you were a stand-up comic, because honestly, we see so much stuff, and I feel like so many people replicate each other and take the low-hanging fruit. I saw yours, and they are like Stephen Wright written caliber. You could I see other stuff, and I go, "We can't do it on a stage." You could do an hour on a stage and just read text messages from my kids from college. My favorite was like, "Hey, Dad, what's my shoe size?" I'm like rolling, Those are like polished jokes. Have you started hitting clubs at all?
No, no. I appreciate you saying that. You're too kind, but like I say, I've got about 30 seconds of material at a time. After like 12 takes. But so I don't know if I would agree with that. But no, I mean, I'm like a regular guy. I got a day job, so I try to squeeze this stuff in on the weekends or whatever. And I mean, I honestly never thought that any of this would even be seen by anyone I know in real life, because I just started posting stuff on TikTok. And honestly, actually, after like 6 months, like nothing I did was funny. I was about to delete my account. I had like 17 followers after 6 months. Then something I did went viral, and then another thing did. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we'll kind of. I'm just trying to sort of keep it going, and yeah, whatever. We'll see.
Dude, you're coming on the road, brother. I'm gonna do that, like a datathon.
Yeah, he needs maybe he's gonna do a joint show and hop on the Parents Lounge show with us.
I know, right? It's so funny because we do this live. Like we're the same. Like I love when people are parent influencers and then they're spending 80 hours a week online. You're like, is anybody spending any time with your children? How is this? Right. Because Jason and I will be like, hey, did you take care of that thing? And both of us will be like, oh, dude, no, I'm buried. He's got like twin 3-year-olds. Like he's hanging on by a thread, man.
I'll bet.
So anytime when I see your videos, I go, wow, somebody's staying up late after work tonight putting those things, because they're so good, man. They're so polished.
They're so polished. That's one of the things. Like yours are really, they're high quality, because there's a lot of just turd-tastic dad stuff out there. But you're very funny.
Yes. Were you writing funny stuff beforehand, or this just came literally out of? Were you the funny guy at work where everyone was like, "Chip, you should do this"?
I don't think so. I've been, maybe a little bit, but no, I think I definitely surprised some people when I started doing it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like, if you listen to like people who are like experts on influencers or whatever, they're like, oh, you got to post, every day, multiple times a day, 5 or 6 posts a day. It's like I'm barely finding the time to do like 2 a week or whatever. And it's like, I tell people, like, I focus, it sounds stupid, but I try to focus on quality over quantity, which sounds silly if you see some of the stuff I post, but
well, it's also silly because it doesn't feel like that's the way the internet works at all. Sometimes the most polished stuff we put together will, like, teleprompt it and write a script, and then I'll have some professional editor add some graphics, and people like, yeah, we don't like that. It's almost like a voyeuristic thing now, where people want to just sit in your living room with you and watch you do stupid things.
Yeah, but then you'll catch like a 10-second clip from my Ring camera of my kids going crazy, and it blows up.
That blows up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's what's kind of cool about yours, because I can see that they're super. Dude, your writing skills are off the charts. But they are kind of this easy thing that you throw together, which makes it great. They're great, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got like plenty of ideas that I'm like, oh, that would take me like an hour to, like, I got to film like different. I got to like fix the background or whatever, and I'm like, or I could just do this green screen with like 3 bullet points behind me, and so there's definitely a filtering process there.
We had songs. I have a couple songs, and I'm like, I really need to sit down and record that. It's like,
right.
I don't have time for that stuff. That's so fun. Yeah. So you have 2 kids. One's in college, one's in high school.
Yeah.
So you're very close to empty nesting it.
Yeah, they're both freshmen, so I got a few years before the youngest is out of the house. But yeah, I do a whole I mean, as the kids get older, like it's mostly about them. Like the focus turns on you and like everything you do wrong and everything you do to embarrass them. And so I do a whole thing around apologies to my teenagers, and it's a lot of it's basic stuff. Like I bought that old fashioned kind of cheese that doesn't come pre-sliced. And they're just like, what? Like what am I supposed to do with this? I don't like work in a cheese factory. Okay. Like what I don't even, what's this for? Smoothie I made was too cold. That was a big one. Couldn't change the thermodynamic properties of ice. It's also just like, yeah, like I was thinking of this because it was almost a year ago, but like just embarrassing things. Like we were on vacation in this like tropical place. We did this kayak tour, and I was like, my kayak was like in the back of the pack, and this like ferry went by like way too fast, and it created this wake which like capsized my boat. So I'm like struggling to get back in the kayak, and they're looking back like, what is the racket back there? Would you keep it down? You're making a scene or whatever. I'm like, I'll try to fight for my life more quietly next time. Sorry about that. I don't know.
No, none of us know. No, none. It's so funny that you waited so long, though. When did you started? How many years ago?
Well, I guess it was 2 years ago I started. So my daughter and I like started just using TikTok and watching it. And I was like, oh, I bet I could make some funny stuff. And I tried the stuff I tried early. I was so stupid. It was like, it wasn't relatable. It was just like I was trying to like whatever. I can't remember what the concepts were, but like, yeah, none of it worked. And I was like, it was July of 21. I was like, I'm going to delete my account, I think. And I ran into my sister-in-law. And she was like, oh, you haven't posted anything in a while. She was like one of my 17 followers. And I had this idea about this marriage one, which is just like scenes of marriage. It has this intro of like, it's a song of like, have you ever been in love? But you do it to like, have you ever been married? And I posted it and just kind of like forgot about it. My daughter started texting me like the next day. She's like, your post has 50,000 views and this many comments or whatever. And like that went to like 2 million people. And then I started to figure out like what works in those environments is like, a wife sends it to her husband, like, oh, this is exactly the same thing you do. Or, a dad or send it to his daughter, like, oh, this sounds like you wrote these text messages. And it's that relatability that kind of gets people. So, yeah.
But you've never really written jokes before.
No, I write like boring emails in an office setting or whatever. But no, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You're, like I said, you're very kind.
So great. You're what now you should go back and go like cover the early years of your children, right?
Well, yeah, I was thinking somebody suggested that to me the other day, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea because I'm always desperate for material, and I have a terrible memory, so I probably wouldn't have as good. But I gotta like, think about that because, obviously there are plenty of.
We're not even close to where you are. I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Yeah,
you have 2
I have a 7-year-old and twin 3-year-olds.
3-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Yeah. Those. I mean, it's. I found that the early years are tougher because you're not sleeping as much or whatever.
They're the worst. The first 3 years are just brutal. You're trying to keep this thing alive, and every day that thing is trying to kill itself. It's crazy. I remember the first year, like, why did we do this again? This is painful.
Well, see, you had yours, and when we got the bonus, the buy one get one free kid that we weren't even expecting to have, and it was a double oops, and I weep literally every day.
We're trying to make it through. This next weekend is my first weekend away with my daughter's 7-year-old club soccer team. We're driving 2 hours and spending the night in San Diego.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I was thinking of you because I saw you posted something about soccer the other day, but I did this, I might do some more of these, but I did this series of like dad awards, which were, they were like comments people gave me about just embarrassing things that their dad did or their husband did or whatever.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, one of them was it was like this dad went to see his daughter's soccer game, but he like watched the wrong game the entire time, and meanwhile his daughter got injured and like some random dad had to take care of her or whatever. But it's like it's that kind of stuff. But, so make sure you're watching the right game.
That's so funny, man. But you would go like I remember when she first played AYSO, you'd show up at the field. There was literally 20 games. I remember like circling the field. I didn't know anyone on the team. I was like, Claire, does anybody look familiar here? And we're just like, walking around,
right. Yeah.
And they all have the same uniform colors. I'm like, this is a terrible league, man. There's other colors besides blue and dark blue, man. Let's mix it up. Yeah.
Super difficult. I get a lot of comments too about like dads who like videotape the wrong girl like at a ballet recital or like a swim meet or whatever. Like, yeah, my dad videotaped this girl coming in second place and this other blonde girl coming in second place in the swim meet. Meanwhile, I won it, whatever. But yeah,
I got in trouble because my kid was very boring during our Christmas concert, so I started taping a much more animated kid instead, and I was like. I mean, it's the same song. He's there, but I mean, this kid's a lot more entertaining. I'll rewatch this.
Yeah.
That might go in the rookie mistake category. I gotta say.
I mean, I defend the choice, but my wife was less than thrilled about it.
When my kid was super young, I was I filmed everything. My wife never filmed it, but she would always give me grief. I'd be like shooting Christmas morning or something, and she'd be like, "Really, you're gonna film this? You're going to film this and wreck our moment." And like, I can't believe that's what you want to do. And then I cut together this beautiful piece. And she's like,
she shares with every single person in her family. She's like, look at the video we made. And then I'm like, oh, you're okay with it now. Feels like now you're okay with what I did. She's like, whatever.
Yeah. Sorry for trying to preserve these special moments, right?
Chip, you should start offering dad classes.
That's your hook. Your hook are those throwaways at the end. Hey, really quick, I just want to, sorry, I tried to help. That's like literally everything you say. Is, hey, I'm sorry, I tried to do what I thought was right. But
my bad.
Okay. Dude, is there a local club near you?
Yeah, I guess there is one. Yeah, it's I live in the Portland, Maine area.
But you can go. You gotta hit the road, brother.
Right? Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I got I don't see myself like hitting the road or whatever. But I don't know. It's been fun, and we'll see where it goes. I like Jason. What do you say? I should teach dad classes. Is that what you said?
Yeah, you should offer a dad course.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because I've already learned a lot because
it's good.
Now I know to tape my own child.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I do is I am on. This is ridiculous, but I'm on Cameo. And I'll do these like wives will ask me to do like a video for their husband, like telling them what they should be apologizing for, or vice versa, or whatever. Those are actually like really fun. So I do get a little bit involved in individual situations.
That's good. Make some money.
We should have him do you should come back, Chip, and start doing dad advice. Like we could come to you for dad advice.
Yeah.
I have actually. I mean, it's funny. At the one we were like, I walked up the stairs too loud, which is funny because my wife just clops around. Like it's like 12, like 11 at night, and she's like Frankenstein walking around the house. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm trying on shoes. That's what she does. She sits in the closet and tries on shoes and then walks around the house and
is she testing the tensile strength of the sole? Like what is she doing?
Box. And also like by the front door is a box graveyard, Chip. Is this a normal thing? Because she opens the box, takes out whatever joy she ordered and wanted to spend money on, leaves the Amazon box like right where she opened it. Never. It doesn't move for days. Like days. It just stays there.
Yeah, that's a common thing I've heard. The noise thing is like like if I come to bed and my wife's in bed, like I'm like tiptoeing so silently. I'm like, pre-turning down the covers or whatever. But when she comes in, it's like, the flashlight's directly in my eyes. She's like dropping her water bottle and like, slamming things down. So it's yeah. And then when your kids get older, that's the other thing is like, I'll try not to wake them up at like 11 in the morning or whatever. I'm tiptoeing around the house, but like, 1 a.m, I can hear the nachos being microwaved and every cabinet being slammed shut or whatever. So you get ready for that. I mean, my son's 19 now, so I'm a big guy. I'm 6'6", he's like 6'5". So like when he closes the door, like the whole house shakes. So it'll be like I'll feel that like at 1:30 in the morning or whatever. So it's all good.
You do listen. Some people can't get away with it. They come off evil. Like this, I know some other guys who get lit up all the time, but I see them like bitching about their wife, and it sounds like they're bitching about their wife. You're like, hey man, I'm sorry, is the hook, baby. It's so blindingly funny. Yeah. I'm like, no, everything's my fault. I swear to you, and it's so sincere. Yeah. My wife last night, and we were she had a work dinner, and then she came in. I was like halfway through a movie, and then she just sits down next to me and has a conversation, and it's the same. She goes, hey, I believe Hannah has to go to a swim tryout in like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And we have to pay $35 or something for it or something. And I go, oh, okay. And then she just keeps repeating. Like 18 seconds goes by, then she goes, I can't find the email, but I'm pretty sure we have to pay $35. You know anything about it? No, I don't. I'll look into it tomorrow. Okay. Like 20 seconds later, pretty sure I got an email about this. You're like, God, I'm in the middle of a movie. What are you doing? You're killing me, dude.
Yeah. The movie's got to be turned off at that point. I think. Yeah. I don't have all the answers. I have to say, like, the repeating thing. I have found that happens, and I don't know what to say there.
Now, would she ever have a flip and say, I did this and I'm sorry? Is there any flip for anything she's done?
Oh, believe me, she's got way more material. She would have way more material on me if she wanted to do this. And she's not like quite. She's been in a few of my posts. I mean, she's done a couple, but like if she wanted to do like things I've apologized to my husband for, it would be incredible. But she's not really. Yeah, it's not her thing. She's not into that. But yeah, I'm as ridiculous as every husband, I'm sure. But yeah, so
you should do them as her.
Yeah, I did that once actually. It didn't quite work. Maybe I try it again, but
I mean, I'm not sure if you're the most feminine looking guy.
Right. It is.
She cast it with like a drawing of your wife, like a drawing.
Yeah.
And then move the lips inside of it.
Maybe, yeah. Like there's the guys who do like they'll wear a wig or whatever. Like this guy wears a blue wig or other wigs, and I haven't I don't think I can quite pull that off or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, it is. It's funny you say about like it doesn't sound like I'm like complaining about my wife or whatever, but it is sometimes tricky to get the tone right because I'm kind of deadpan, right? But it's there's a risk that deadpan is either like low energy, or if you try to make it energetic, it becomes like kind of harsh or like just critical. And sometimes I don't hit that tone right, and sometimes I'll delete stuff if it's like I can tell in the comments that people are like, oh, you're pretty bitter today or whatever. So it isn't. Yeah, I don't always get it right. Yeah.
Do you and your wife have like full-blown fights?
We're both pretty mellow. We don't have like huge fights. I mean, it's more like things that get on each other's nerves, and yeah.
No one's yelling. There's no yelling in your house. What's that like?
Not a lot. No. Most of the yelling is my teenage son, like online with his friends, like playing some kind of game or whatever. But that's all.
Those become vicious, right? I'm sure at 19, it's venomous, right?
Yeah, it's loud. I remember like early in COVID when I started working from home, it would be like, they were out, they were, schooling at home or whatever. I'd be like in, a meeting, and he's like all this screaming in the background. It's pretty funny actually, but yeah. Yeah. It's
I
good.
think you've got a hostage situation going on in your house.
Right. Everything's fine. Nothing to worry about. You don't need to call the authorities.
Are you a video game guy?
I'm not. No. You guys play?
No.
I will play casually, like Mario Kart stuff with like my kids, but I'm not like playing on my own very much.
Yeah.
Last time I played was
Didn't you play Mario Kart too?
Galaga. My kids make me. I played it once or twice, and they just destroy me. My 7-year-old destroys me at Mario Kart.
Jim and I tried doing virtual reality because we were going to try and take our show.
Yeah, we have
reality space. That was a. Jamie's character committed suicide in like 2 minutes. It was the craziest thing ever. He just killed himself.
I almost threw up. I was like, I don't even get seasick, but I was like, oh my gosh, I got super sick on the Oculus.
Yeah, I've seen too many videos of people like jumping through their TV or whatever when they're wearing one of those things, or like falling out the window. It doesn't seem safe.
What was your dad like when you were a kid? Do you remember having all these? It's so funny for me to see all this. Everyone's like, because my daughter's so much like me, and they go, it must be great to see your. I go, it's painful. Now I see what my father put up with because I was horrible as a child. Do you?
Right, yeah. I mean, we had a good like household with kind of normal dynamics. I remember like just like whatever. Parents would do things that were like annoying or embarrassing, nothing major or whatever, but. I remember as like a teenage kid, I didn't want to like spend time around my parents, right? So it's all like you see a lot of the same things that you experienced or whatever, but it's fun. I mean, the thing is, kids get funny as they get older. I think you'll enjoy that, but teenagers, I mean, as you can see from some of my like the text messages, the stuff I share, like they're pretty funny. They roast you pretty good, especially I think this generation,
Well, they talk about your posts, right? Of like, Dad, you're a loser. Dad, that's not funny. Dad. Aren't they just ripping you?
Well, that's mostly my daughter. Yeah, she's a pretty harsh critic. She's like recycling the same exact content again. I say posting a draft from like last summer. Way to go, whatever. But it's good though because like when things started to catch on, like I'll be in like a parent teacher conference, and like one of her teachers will be like, oh, maybe this will end up on TikTok or whatever. And so it's kind of nice to see them a little bit mortified. But like the other day, my son, who's the freshman in college, he was like, when I did that one around text for my college freshmen, he was like, yeah, they found out about your TikTok down here. A couple of random girls asked if you were my dad. Like, I hope that was a good thing, but I don't know. But,
I bet it is.
yeah, maybe.
I'll bet it's helping him.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a piece of the influencer nowadays.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But that post like spurred so many funny comments from like either texts that parents got from like their college freshmen or other things. Like I think my favorite one was a lot of them had to do with like kids who had to fill out like medical forms for the first time and like weren't sure how to answer questions. So like one girl was like where it asked for like her street name, she put her nickname down. It's like, I don't think that's the kind of street name they mean. I think that's just like address. I don't know. It's stuff like that. You don't think you have to trust that, right? Like, what was the other one? Like, yeah, like for I remember one kid for primary care provider. She just put my mom. It's like, technically, that's
right.
True.
I mean, that is right. That is her primary care provider. Once I was reading some of those, I was thinking about when I went to college and was like, yeah, I don't remember knowing I didn't know anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Still, some of the questions are a little bit of they're kind of head scratchers. One was like, is there a difference between a 13x9 pan and a 9x13 pan? Of course, all these people in the comments are like, well, if it has handles, yes, that would be a different one. But I think that's probably the same. You know. There was a kid who, there was a boy who asked his mom, what's my maiden name? Yeah, I don't think you have one yet or ever.
Dude, you have at least an hour of material.
Probably.
You're going to destroy. Oh, my God. Start memorizing those things in order.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I would need some kind of like screen behind me with like to put them up there. I could see that could be funny.
Oh, that you could do that. We've done that.
Yeah.
You could definitely do that.
A lot of people do that. Yeah. What can we tell people where you are?
Yeah, so it's the Leighton Show. So it's Leighton. It's mainly on TikTok and Instagram, but yeah. So,
and we're going to share some of those links. But I meant, can we tell people what state you live in?
Oh yes, sorry,
I wasn't sure. And really quick, what's your maiden name? I just want to.
Right.
I'm always wary of telling people, where they are, but I love where you live because I used to live near there.
Yeah, we're in the southern Maine area, the Portland, Maine area, which is awesome. I mean, it's just a great place to live, raise a family, and yeah, we have fun here. I'm originally from Philadelphia. I wear a lot of like Eagles and Phillies gear in my posts or whatever. A lot of people think I live in Philadelphia.
I'm in Pennsylvania as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. What part?
I'm north of Scranton.
Okay, yeah.
He's in like the boonies out there.
Right. Yeah, my daughter's like been obsessed with The Office. We just like watched the whole thing, like the American version of The Office. So I'll tell her I talked to somebody from near Scranton. She'll be impressed.
Yep. Yeah, they're like royalty in this area.
Right.
I love it. You're like, Portland, Maine, I'm from New Hampshire. How's the weather today? What's happening up there?
It's pretty uneventful today. We're getting some snow tomorrow. We've had like no snow. It's been a really weird winter. It's not even like cold enough to ice skate or whatever, but yeah.
It'll get cold in June, I'm sure. I'm sure it'll be super. I couldn't take the mosquitoes up there, man. The mosquitoes in the winter just kind of drove me crazy in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But I do I love the area, and Portland, Maine's gorgeous. We used to go up all the time to like Kennebunkport and stuff and hang on the coast up there. It's super fun. Yeah.
There's great restaurants, and I think there's like more breweries per capita in Maine than like anywhere else. So it's fun. It's a fun place to live. Yeah.
It's quite a bragging point. Jamie, there's more places. You can get craft beer anywhere up here. Just everywhere.
Right.
Those guys
my interest is peaked
up in those hills, man.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I'm so intrigued by what you with the little ones. What when your kids were first born, how life-changing was it for you? Were you like how old were you when you had kids, and what happened with that?
Yeah, I mean, we were living in California when we had our first kids. We lived in the Bay Area for about 5 years, and yeah, our son we had, yeah, man, it's pretty eventful. I mean, as you know, it's life changing. But yeah, your whole all your free time kind of turns to the kids, which is great. I mean, it's I remember, so our kids are 4 years apart, and I remember when we had the second one, that kind of changes things. I always remember when we brought home my daughter. My son was like, oh, he was like, happy and like, oh, great, she's part of the family now, and like his first question was like, now who's going to take care of her when we go on vacation? She's not like a pet or whatever. Like, she's probably coming with us. So I don't know if you're grasping this whole situation here, but it's a little different. So it is different when you got the second one. Yeah.
And plus, in 9 years, when you're 13, you're going to take care of it when your mother and I go out. Just so we're all the same.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You're babysitting.
Yeah. There's a lot of benefits when they get to be that age.
We're not there. Mine are only 18 months apart. And honestly, the older one is the least trustworthy of the two. So it might be a point where I put the younger one in charge. Like, I promote her early to babysitter.
Yeah, might have to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife gets so nervous. Does your wife? My wife's always nervous about the kids, like almost to a crazy point of like, where are they? What are they doing? They're in the front yard. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, even like I said, my son's 19, and it's still kind of.
Yes, he went to college, right? So I mean, how was that?
Well, it's gone well. I mean, like, he loves it there, but it's like, you're probably not going to want to be like tracking him on the phone, like when he's like at college or whatever. And so you gotta let him go a little bit, but it's the same kind of thing. Like, like when he's home now still for winter break, and, he'll go out late, and, I'll go to sleep, and, she'll be waiting up and try to see where, I can see where his car is right now, whatever. But, yeah, sometimes, but, I mean, I do. I think I did a piece around like, apologizing because like I don't worry enough, whatever, because she's definitely the worrier in the relationship. And like, yeah, it's like I'm trying to remember, I think it was like I wasn't she was like worried because the air conditioner was making a loud blowing sound. I'm like, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think that's fairly normal for an air conditioner, or like there's like a car driving on the road in front of our house. Again, I like not necessarily a cause for concern. It could be, but
my wife came in last night, and she told me there was a very sketchy car.
Right.
And walked over from her house, and she was afraid to get out of her car. Like, she said she sat in the car for a while, and then at the end she was like, and if I'd have been gone, you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know if I was gone. You wouldn't care. You would just like 3 days from now be like, where's Kate? Like,
right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Most husbands don't. Yeah. Their wives don't think they worry enough. Like even like, actually, even like she had a dream the other night that like the basement was flooding. There was like water coming through the ceiling tiles. And she's like, and you just ignored it. You wouldn't come down to help or whatever. You just said, oh, it'll be fine. I'm not worried. It's just like, what is wrong? I'm like, it was a dream. That didn't even happen. Like, what? But I don't know. You can't defend yourself. I hear from a lot of guys who they have to defend what they do in dreams, cheating or whatever. But
that has happened. She's done that. My wife has done that to me. And then she's like, I need to see your phone. And I was like, okay, take it. I hope that my dream cheating did not spill over into my real text messages, but I'm pretty sure I'm clean.
Right.
My wife has my password. Does your wife have your password, Chip?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but
let me go back up. Does she care? Does she care enough to have your password?
No, I don't think she's worried. I should. Yeah.
We both each know each other's passwords, but you know who doesn't know my password is my kids. My kids do not know my password.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, Daddy, how come we can't have your password? I go, you know why. You know why. You just start rummaging through my photos and stuff.
Yeah. The other one that comes up is getting in trouble for things that happen like in a TV show you're watching or whatever. Like like this guy, we're watching a TV show, and the guy was like cheating in the TV show, and it was just like it led to this whole explanation of what would happen to me if that was me in that situation, and it was pretty believable actually. But I hear a lot. I hear guys. I hear a lot of that kind of stuff from guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife last night, she came in, and I was watching Babylon. I got a screener for Babylon, so I'm watching the Damien Chazelle one or whatever. And halfway through, she always walks. My wife, it could be the most boring movie, And if there's one like gruesome murder in the whole 2-hour film, that will be the 1 second my wife walks in and goes, "Hey, what are you watching?" I'm like, it's not. Yes, they cut that dude's head off, but it's not what the movie's about.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe you would make me look at that before I try to sleep. That's what she told me last night. It was some horrifying thing. She was like, "Why would you put that in my brain before I go to sleep?" And I don't know what to tell you. And then
what were you thinking?
I go, "You have anxiety. You don't watch this kind of stuff. I watch this stuff all the time, and I sleep like a baby. Maybe you should start watching this horrible, like murderous, like Dahmer. If you watch Dahmer, maybe you'll sleep better." I don't know.
Yeah. I actually started watching that the other day. She was in the room and it was like kind of disgusted, but I did one around like I wanted to watch something other than a house hunting show, and apologizing for that. It's like I don't want to watch those 24/7. You know, I know
Bachelorette, I'm not doing it. Sex in the City. Sex in the City was good. I enjoyed it back in the day. I'm not watching that again either.
Yeah.
She wants to watch lately she's on a Seinfeld binge, or she went through a Friends binge. Like she goes, "I just want to watch things that help me relax." And I go, "That's not what I want at all." And again, why are we in the same room? Why are we sharing a room? I have a big bit about that, but why? My kids have separate beds, separate rooms. They haven't done anything to deserve that. Why are we sharing a bed in the same room? I don't understand the whole premise of marriage myself, but what do I know?
Okay, you're getting deep here, Jamie. I don't know.
He does this. I apologize.
Yeah.
I know. I'm hanging on. I had it, dude. I got
Sorry for questioning the premise of marriage.
I'm questioning the premise of marriage. I am.
Yeah.
I was reading something about some actor from like the 60s or 70s, and the wife was like, "Well, we had an open marriage back then. It was all the rage in New York." And part of me was like, and some guys are always like, "That sounds great." I go, "That sounds horrible. I don't want another woman in my life. Like, one's more than enough." Like, when those guys have a separate family like 40 miles away,
right?
And they say they're salesmen, and then they like are gone for 4 days and then back for 3 and gone. What lunatic would do this twice to themselves? I don't get it at all. I know you're happily married with your kids.
I am, but I don't know logistically how you could possibly pull something like that off, right? Like like how tired would you be? Like any parent is like exhausted already.
I'm barely handling just the one family here.
Right.
And apparently my mistress and my wife's dreams.
Right. Watch out for that.
I know. I should actually, when my wife has dreams like that, I ask her to just really explain it to me in slow, meticulous detail.
Right.
I'm going to shut my eyes while you tell me about it, but just say it's sweet. Say it's sweet. Yeah.
You guys get in trouble for any stuff over the holidays? Everything goes smooth there?
I get in trouble for everything over the holidays. Our flight. We got Southwested. We were supposed to fly to Denver, and so Christmas Day we spent 12 hours at LAX, and the whole time she yelled at me because I booked the tickets on Southwest. Like I saw this coming. And she goes, "You're an idiot. Why would you travel on Southwest?" I go, "Well, I've traveled on Southwest 1 billion times. They've been always very good. 2 free bags. It's a great airline." She goes, all day, all I heard was, "You're an idiot." I would have flown Delta. None of the Delta flights got canceled. I should have known. That's again, my apologies for not booking the flight on Delta.
Yeah, you should have seen that huge major outage coming.
That was my fault. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I got in trouble because Santa's handwriting was just a little too close to my own.
That's good. Yeah, my wife does the vast majority of the gift kind of arranging or whatever for the kids, and she was I think she was trying to do it pretty fast this time. So she just, instead of writing like not the Santa stuff, but she was writing for mom and dad. She would just write from M&D or whatever, and like I eventually I got a present. It was like to me from M&D. I'm like, what? She's like, I guess I was. It's from me. I guess I wasn't paying attention at the end or whatever. I'm like, oh, interesting. The whole present thing is a minefield. I got in trouble this year because she was like asking for suggestions for me, and I asked for a gift that wasn't expensive enough, and I could see her like she was like, what, like recalibrating her own, what she was going to ask for herself or whatever. But yeah.
We actually bought our own presents. Interesting. and then just wrote the other person's name on it to give to us.
Wow, that's really
I love that.
I went and got like 3 things. I got myself a pair. She's like, "You're terrible to buy for," which I always laugh. I'm like, "Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm also great to buy for because I don't really care. I don't care what you give me. It's going to be fine. So whatever you want to do." And I have a question for you about, because I'm at 9 and 7, and so Santa Claus is right on the cusp. Right on the cusp. Where you go, I think somebody knows, but they're not fessing up. And the younger one is so into it. But the older one came out. This was the first Christmas morning she came out. She's like, whatever. At 9. Where the other one was like lost her mind. What happened? How did that whole awakening come about for you?
Yeah, I remember my son, who's oldest, like he went pretty far actually before he, at least before he said that he wasn't believing, which I thought was weird because like they get to the age where like you can have a pretty good conversation with them, like a fairly intelligent conversation with them when they're like, 9 or 10 or whatever. And it's like, but they can also believe this crazy concept of this guy's going to every house in the world, like overnight. It's coming through the chimney. We don't even have a chimney. Like it is kind of weird. Their like brains are developed to a certain extent, but then they'll believe something like that. So I don't know. And then the younger one knew pretty quickly, I think. I don't remember exactly how it played out, but it's
the older one told the younger one. That's
probably.
what we're afraid that's going to happen.
Yeah. It is kind of a weird
other
concept.
Kids in the class they're probably like, this kid's in my 9-year-old's class, 4th grade, with phones. Like they have phones already.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind.
Probably just Google it, right?
Yeah. Do you remember? So does it reach a point where you still go like, hey, Santa's gifts are under the tree? Or do you just, thank God that's over, let's move on with our lives?
It does simplify things quite a bit, I will say, because it's still fun. I mean, it's still opening gifts and we do stockings or whatever, but it's like so it's still good. Yeah, it's
but there's no elf on a shelf that we have to deal with for 30 straight days.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The elf. It's like, oh man, that's a big pain point. Like, you go to bed and it's like your eyes are closing. It's like, oh, the elf or whatever. And we would have ours like in the same spot for like 3 days. The kids would be like, okay, that's I'm guessing that's not real. Yeah.
Why wouldn't the elf move?
Somebody touched him. That's always the thing. I'm like, well, somebody touched him.
Right. Yeah, could have been that. So yeah. I mean, it's all good stuff, but it does get a little simpler.
Have you gone to so you drove your son to college this September? He's a freshman.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah. He's down in Virginia, and so yeah. I mean, moving somebody into college in Virginia in like August isn't. It's a little warmer than it is in Maine. I was like drenched in sweat like the whole time, and yeah, it was actually, everybody told me, they're like, you're going to be more emotional than you think or whatever. Like, it's a huge deal. And I was like, all right, I guess. I mean, because he was like ready to go, and I was ready. I was good with it or whatever. But it's like, and it was fine. And like the minute we said goodbye, I walked out. My wife and I were like, destroyed. I mean, we were just like sobbing hysterically, and it's like, yeah, it's really bad. And then like the rest of that afternoon was like this big orientation for the families. So we're in this like big arena, and I'm like sweating and crying. And that night, actually, we were at the hotel, and I get this message on Instagram, and someone's like, hey, were you at the orientation today? Because I know like she followed me on Instagram, whatever, and she like sent me this picture like from across the stadium of me. I look like so terrible, and I'm like, yeah, that was me. So it was, welcome
to fame, baby.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I got people paparazzi.
Leave the house, yeah.
Right. I can't
here's what I'm kind of dreading is the process of helping my kids get into college. Like we're already like we go to Mathnasium once a week. We're gonna have to get like an SAT tutor and then go through the whole application process. And how painful was that?
Well, it's probably, I don't know, it might be different with girls and boys. I mean, my son's pretty independent, so he needed a little push to sort of figure out where to go, and it's kind of fun to visit different colleges. My wife actually did more of that, but it is, I mean, it's pretty competitive these days. I mean, I'm sure I couldn't get into college I went to, and
no, me neither.
Yeah, right. But so I mean, it's once they sort of decide what they want to do, it's kind of cool to see them just on their own or whatever. But
were you
I don't know.
Were you an authoritarian of like staying on top of them to with their homework and stuff, or you're like, whatever, just do it?
No, I mean, that's another one where, my wife was probably a little more like worried or whatever. And both my kids are really smart and did really well in school and do really well. So it hasn't been an issue. We're lucky in that way. So, but I'm more laid back and relaxed, and she's a little bit more wants to get more involved in that stuff. But yeah. So
I've never seen a dad this chill, Jason. He's just too chill.
I'm trying to like figure out how he's doing it. Like, what is the process in which you get to that Zen place?
No. He's either heavily drugged or
you got to do a lot of apologizing.
A lot of apologizing. That's super funny.
I mean, I do apologize a lot, but
it is funny to see at that age, because I kind of am looking forward to. Listen, I don't want the years to go by too fast, but I'm also like, that would be kind of nice to go, we're just leaving my daughter can stay home. She's a freshman.
Oh, yeah.
We're going out for dinner.
Yeah. No, that's huge. Okay. You get like, well, I mean, my daughter doesn't have her license yet, but when they can start driving, then you don't have to like cart them around everywhere or whatever. You go out to dinner without hiring a babysitter or whatever, stuff like that. Plus it's cool when like, you mentioned Seinfeld before, or whatever, like that you could start like introducing them to like shows or movies you watched when you were, from when you were either a kid or older. It's like I said, we were watching The Office, and it's all fun. They become more like people, right? And so it's pretty cool. I mean, they're not quite as enthusiastic about spending time with you, but yeah.
But it seems like your kids became cool people. Other people have kids that are not cool people. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't even have a kid anymore. Just now I have a kind of a dick who lives in my house. Like, I know people like that, right? Who are dealing with that.
Yeah. Every kid's different, I guess. Like I said,
So you just have two perfect children. Your kids have never gotten any trouble. Everything's chill with you and your wife. It's all just cool and groovy.
Yeah. Like I said, we have our moments, whatever, but all in all, we're all pretty laid back. My daughter gives me a hard time pretty frequently about stuff, but it leads to good content, so make the best of it.
I feel like sarcasm does help kids become well adjusted as adults to some degree, because she's ragging on him now, and I'm sure she carries that same kind of demeanor out into the world.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, my daughter is like at school or whatever, is like the most polite, well-behaved, quiet person or whatever. But she can, they can act different around the house and like, make fun of me or whatever. And I think that's good to be able to like, just, behave a little bit differently when you're in kind of like the safe zone or whatever.
So my kids are an age. Yeah. I'm trying to teach them that, like somebody said something mean to my daughter and it really upset her or something or whatever. And I was like, you got to learn. The more you react to it, the more they're going to respond and keep doing it. The trick is to just ignore them or go, oh, that reminds me, I don't care for anything you said. Like so I've been kind of like ripping all these like throwback lines to give them. And then finally my older one said something. I go, just punch him in the face. I said, told the 9-year-old, I go, just punch that kid in the face. And she's like, I can't do that. I go, no, don't try not to. But if you have to, it's a boy, you'll get away. Just punch him right in the mouth. That kills stuff. How do you tell your kids? Because I was really sarcastic with my kids, and I've kind of created monsters in a way, because now they're sarcastic back to me. And sometimes I'm like, hey, there's a time and place for that. And they go, not for you. And I go, well, no, but for you, you're 9. You can't talk to the neighbors. We had a neighbor, and she was being a smartass when she was like 5. And he was like, hey, Hannah, how's it going? And she was like, wouldn't you like to know? And I thought it was hilariously funny. But that guy was really offended. He's like, hey, man, that's fine. And I go, just get over it. So I think it's great to have smart-ass kids.
Yeah, I mean, the word smart is in there, but like to be, sarcastic, like it is, you got to be kind of intelligent to do that kind of stuff, right? So I do like that about my kids.
What did your kids do? Sports?
Yeah.
You're 6'6". Were you an athlete?
Not really. Yeah, I played squash in college, but it's not like the most. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, my son
Squash. You must have gone to Ivy League then. Who else had squash, Jason? Anybody?
Liberal arts.
Nobody
liberal arts.
here. Scranton doesn't have squash.
Right. Yeah.
I worked at the Harvard Club when I was in college. I was at BU, and the Harvard Club.
Right.
I had a bar. They made me bartend in the squash section where the two dudes were like playing squash, and then we'd come have a drink and stuff. And
we didn't have a bar. Yeah.
I didn't even know what squash was. I'd never seen it or heard of it.
Yeah. Well, but my son, who I said I mentioned is really tall. Like he did track and field for a while, and so he did the high jump, which was fun to watch. And my daughter's a swimmer, so we get to go to a lot of swim meets and stuff, which is, I mean, it's fun to watch her. It's not like the greatest spectator experience to be like in like 100-degree building for like 3 hours to watch her for like 30 seconds. But
we're the same. My older daughter, she's starting a swimming club at 9.
Yeah.
But has she been swimming her whole life, like on a club level?
I don't know, maybe 5 years or something. But like I know somebody at work who lived in Florida for a while, and like he said like the swim meets were like incredible. It's like outside, there's like a bar or whatever, and like you make a night of. I don't know if it's like that in California or whatever, but in Maine,
they're outside here.
Yeah,
they were outside, and because the one daughter she was in the early group, we had to be there at 7 a.m. and her swim meets were from 7 till noon. And then my older daughter, because she was just over it, was in the afternoon session. So we would show up, sit on a football field from 7 in the morning till like 5 at night in lawn chairs with other parents just going, why are we doing this again? This is insanity. And so we'd run up and I'd have to like get her in there. And this is the first time we've ever done it. And then she was like, swim for 30 seconds, and then we sit around for another 50 minutes, and then it's not like a game where it's like, hey, we're here for an hour and a half. Like it's a long day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not ideal unless you're like a super like swimming fan and you could like watch a race that doesn't have your kid in it or whatever. I'm probably not that big a fan.
That butterfly stroke was fantastic.
Right. Yeah. So
do you go to every event? Are you that dad?
I try to, I mean, as many as I can. I try to. Yeah, it's it's fine. I mean, it goes.
You scream?
No, I try to be somewhat reserved. I did get in trouble for like giving her a thumbs up from the stands one day, like embarrassing her or whatever. But
that was embarrassing. A thumbs up?
Yeah. Oh, you'd be surprised at stuff I've heard like from other parents, like clapping too loud or like. What was one? There was one that was like her daughter was like, "You're not supposed to cheer in full sentences. Use phrases only." It's like, okay, all right. I mean, it sounds kind of like ridiculous at first, but it's like, yeah, it does make sense. You shouldn't be cheering in full phrases. Like that's not good.
Dude, you have a book. You know that, right? Like there's a book.
There's definitely a book. If he's not going to do stand-up, there's definitely a book.
Yeah.
Instead of like Tuesdays with Maury, it's like apologies with my wife. Like
I just need like about 7 more hours in the day and I'll be able to do all this stuff.
Speaking of which, we have to get you out of here. We are at our time. Dude, I'm so thankful that you came because we're huge fans of what you're doing. And for everybody out there, it's Chip Leighton of The Leighton Show on TikTok and on Instagram and they are super funny. We'll share a couple to the page. But they are just well-written stuff. They're great.
Well, thanks so much. It's a blast.
Come back anytime.
Dude, please come back and we'll do this again. You're gonna have to come do a live one eventually because all the people comment and ask questions and stuff. And so we'll do this one first, and then you got to come back and do a live one because
all right, that'd be fun. I'll have to like take a nap or something,
I'm East Coast too, so I feel your pain there.
Oh wow, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you again.
Well, actually, maybe we'll do a weekend one, or we'll do a rare. Like we want to do another dad.
We could do a Scotch tasting would be good. We could do another Scotch tasting.
Yeah,
or Dad's Book Club. We still haven't knocked that one out.
We haven't done. See, we have all the plans too, and every day we're like, oh, we should do this and this and this, and then we're like, I gotta go take the kid to soccer practice. I don't have any time for that crap. So yeah. All right, listen, Chip Leighton, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, go check out his stuff.